The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid only on showroom carpet price $1 or more per square foot. Specialty items may be priced separately. License numbers including 47781 available at homedepot.com/license numbers.
Warm up your cold winter days with hot deals during Aaron's Winter Warm-Up. Yes, hot deals on living rooms, TVs, and even washers and dryers with no credit needed and free delivery and setup. Plus, this hot offer from January 11th to the 15th. Just $1 gets you started leasing to own, and then no payments until February 15th. Start with just $1 at participating stores or Aaron's.com and enjoy Aaron's Winter Warm-Up now while the deals are still hot. Transaction advertised as a rental purchase agreement. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
She appeared on screen a lot in the 70s and 80s. CBS's Matt Piper remembers.
After complications from dementia, actress Verna Bloom has died. She had roles in Animal House and High Plains Drifter. In Animal House, she played a drunk wife of Dean Warmer. She also appeared in several Martin Scorsese and Clint Eastwood films. Her family says she died in Bar Harbor, Maine, at the age of 80. Matt Piper, CBS News.
Yeah, there goes someone's Valentine's Day gifts. Northwestern Indiana. Panties, bras, and other shoplifted items tossed from a car being chased by police at speeds of nearly 100 miles an hour. The chase ending when the driver's car tires were shredded by spikes laid across the roadway by the police. The woman behind the wheel faces several charges. 4 bras, 14 pairs of panties, a couple of candles, and some air freshener refills were all found believed to have been stolen. I'm Jim Taylor, CBS News.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
A mother and daughter were brutally murdered in Whitfield County. The alleged killer called 911 to confess, saying that he lost his mind and murdered the two. Deputies found the bodies of 72-year-old Judy Potts and her daughter Crystal Spainhour bludgeoned and stabbed to death. A Dade County woman who ran over a deputy, mangling his leg so badly it had to be amputated, was sentenced to 40 years in prison yesterday. 35-year-old Laura Wooten convicted on a list of charges simply too long to read, but it includes aggravated battery and aggravated assault. Defenders pulled a Hail Mary when they claimed the DA's office may have the appearance of impropriety in the Athens Park Bloods RICO case because one of the prosecutors used to work as a defense attorney for one of the defendants. Judge Tom Greenholtz, however, slapped that idea down. The Athens Park Blood RICO case continues. 3 of the defendants face the death penalty. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
92.7 Nooga Radio.
I went whitewater rafting a few years back, and man, it was fun. This is Bruce Dodd with People's Home Equity, a mortgage company right here in Chattanooga. The water was up that day, and the rapids were pretty challenging. Our guide had traveled the river hundreds of times before and knew exactly where to go and how to approach each rapid. I learned that it's important to know when to paddle, when to coast, and that communication is vital. The mortgage world has become a lot like a whitewater trip. We do mortgages all day, every day. Your mortgage is our priority. If you're looking to move this year, then get the pre-qualification process started with professionals who can help you navigate the mortgage industry. We know when to paddle and when to coast. If you're ready to move, call us at People's Home Equity, 423-591-9801.
People's Home Equity is still closing loans in less than 30 days. Call them now to get pre-qualified. 423-591-9801. 423-591-9801. Call for more details. Terms and conditions may apply. This is not a commitment to lend. NMLS number 66247. Tennessee number 117278136. Georgia number 16020. Georgia Residential Mortgage Licensee. Equal housing lender.
Your whole political platform is just screaming random 3-word phrases. One of them is going to bound to end up being good. Lock her up? No. Build the wall? No. All dog zoo? Stop. That's actually a great idea. It took a while, but you finally threw out a good one.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
I'll drink all the time. Cause of lovers.
Probably true.
That is the fact.
And David Bowie and
yes, my lovers.
3 years ago, we learned of his passing. And that was a very sad day for a lot of music fans and like me. I think the guy was an absolute genius. Yeah, he was kind of freakish. This was his, if I'm not mistaken, his 60th birthday party that he had. And a remarkable show. And this is actually when he classed himself up and dressed himself up and he got the right haircut and wore a suit. And suddenly people were like going, hey, this guy's cool. He's all right. He's not the, androgynous weirdo anymore. And it's beautiful stuff. You're listening to Fred the Show, free radio every day. Freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and sponsored by People's Home Equities. People's Home Equity, NMLS 66247. See what I did there? I did that little weird thing at the beginning instead of the end of the live commercial I'm doing. I have no idea what that does, but chatmortgage.com, I know what that does. That's the website for People's Home Equity. And if you're looking for a house, you got to get a mortgage. Unless you got a ton of cash in a paper bag somewhere, you got to have a mortgage. And you need somebody who knows mortgages so you don't screw up.
And we'll be glad to take that ton of cash off of your hands.
Absolutely. Come on down to the compound.
Yeah, we'll talk about you, tell you what kind of great guy you are.
Absolutely, at least briefly. Now, we do have we have somebody on the line here. So we're going to talk about the WWTA situation, and I did contact Tennessee American yesterday, and was very politely told that there really wasn't a whole lot more information on the possible purchase of the WWTA by Tennessee American. We have Brent Smith on the line with us, and Brent, good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy New Year, belated to you.
Yeah, cool. I think you can say Happy New Year through the 15th, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the law.
I'm allowed. I do want to say this, a shout out to you. Over the holidays, Jeff, I watched the Big Lebowski, and dude, it brought back memories.
It is a good one. It's coming up. That'll be, I think that's the next one that they're playing in the Bobby Stone film series down at Tivoli too. So if anybody's never seen the Big Lebowski, you really should. I mean, you should see all cult movies. I mean, so you'll understand what we're doing when we're doing our little drops here and saying things that you say, why do people always say that? Just because it comes from some cult movie. I don't know. Brent, so what's your take on the WWTA and the County Commission, and both editorials in the Times Free Press today are ranting and raving on one side or the other on this?
Well, Jeff, I'll tell you, it was kind of deja vu. I first started listening to you during the Tennessee American Water discussion. How many years ago was that? 20 years ago?
About the city taking over? Yeah.
And then take over, yeah. So, how things have turned about. Number one, I want people to understand that for us up here in North Hamilton County and the Mahan Gap Road, that issue hasn't gone away. So, we've won every vote at the RPA and at the County Commission, but the issue still hasn't gone away. So I want people to, keep that in mind. WWTA, best of our knowledge, is still contacting property owners adjacent to the property they want to purchase, offering to buy their property so they can expand the site. So that's still going on. But I think it's a really interesting proposition. I think Commissioner Chairwoman Smedley, in her wisdom, has said, you know what, let's look at all the options. And Commissioner Jeter is saying the same thing. Let's look at all the options. WWTA kind of did the process backwards. They tried to ram a site down in the middle of the night to the property owners. Yeah. And now the County Commission is saying, you know what, let's take a step back and evaluate all our options. I mean, I think it's an exciting opportunity for the county to have a third party kind of run the structure. You take the politics out of it. You bring in a large company that's got the experience, the financing. You can remove a lot of debt off of your books. I mean, it's something that at least we should look at. I think it's a great chance for the county to get back on track.
The whole idea of privatizing a utility, is always going to be heavily debated in any county that has any intelligent people that live there. I mean, it's an active and vibrant debate that can be had. And for those who don't know what Brent's referring to, back when Mayor John Kinsey was in charge, there was a push to take over the water company, and it is a private company. Tennessee American is, and if they had handled it differently, I think it probably would have gone through without any problems. But it was very ham-handed, I have to say, kind of unusual for Mayor Kinsey, and his IQ is probably 350. But it really was just mishandled. But it's always a debate. I mean, what do you want to be in control of? Water, wastewater. Every community does it differently, and it's just I think you are right. And when they try to just ram things down your throat, people don't like things being in their throat, and they're gonna react every time. It's just not the way to conduct it.
I'm not going to comment on what you just said, but I will say this, Jeff, is that if you go back to that discussion, it was on the radio every day. Yes. It was a hot topic. And it was a well-debated topic. I mean, there has not been any really good discussion on how to handle our infrastructure. And especially, the wastewater, it's the beginning of everything, right? You want to open up new sections of the county. What's got to go in first?
Sewers.
And then after that, the housing and the schools follow. Right. So it's a great opportunity to get everything on the table and let everyone know the issues. Because just think about this proposition. We have a wastewater control, wastewater treatment plant at Moccasin Bend. It's big enough and it has the available space to be a regional plant. That's how it was originally set up. And the discussion has been over the years that, just put everything there. And the possibility of a third party coming in, they could handle Hamilton County and they could handle the city of Chattanooga. With the right oversight, with the right cooperation, there's a million different ways to do it, through public-private partnership, having the right oversight, who owns the infrastructure, who doesn't.
This, by the way, this area is really big on private-public partnerships. We actually have blazed trails in the world of private-public partnerships. The cities, municipalities from around the world have come here to study what we have done in the last 25 years. Sometimes it's worked very well, sometimes not so much. But anytime somebody has a power to increase the money you have to pay to live here, and you don't have any say-so, you don't have any get back, you don't have any recourse, that's going to be problematic. Plain and simple.
That is, but that going into it. So, you make an agreement or you structure something with that in mind. That's a great thing of starting something fresh, is that what the advantages are, what the disadvantages are. There's a long list now since the 90s of wastewater treatment plants that have operated that way. There's a lot of experience that you can go look at. There's a lot of people you can talk to. It just amazes to me. I don't even know how much outside, other than a third-party engineering group, that we've actually talked about.
Well, it's not a sexy topic. It's not a sexy topic. Sewer talk doesn't, send people running into a room to, grab mic space. Let's just be honest.
Occasionally I've ran into it anywhere to talk about.
I mean, it's seriously. But it's so vital. And I know when I moved out into the county, and I moved out into Bartlebaugh, Harrison, and we had this sewer fee, but we weren't on a sewer. We had just a private septic tank that I actually did have to replace. And let me tell you, if you want a nightmare, have them come out and get that big backhoe and rip up your septic tank and rip up your property and replace that and pay about $5,000. And I'm like, why am I paying this fee? I said, well, you have access to a line. And I talked to my neighbors when I was new there. I said, well, does anybody use that line? No. Does it really exist? Nobody knows. But I still had to pay the fee, by God, and then if it goes up, people are going to shout, they're going to holler, and nobody, NIMBY is, in full flight here, and everybody understands that. Not in my backyard. You don't want a sewer, holding tank, full of foul-smelling liquids and other things, solids as well, in your vicinity. But you know what? That's part of modern living. That's we've been dealing with that since the Romans.
I disagree with you, Jeff. Part of modern living is planning. Yeah. And that's not planning when you bring a surprise on someone overnight and say, this is what we're doing, and there's no discussion. I agree. That's not good. That's not good government policy.
No, I agree. I'm just saying you shouldn't spring things on people. And obviously when their property value is going to be negatively affected, and they've made the most major investment of their entire life, and it could literally, just turned into waste. And those people need to have a voice.
Jeff, it looks like they're trading one neighborhood for another. We're going to trade off your values and your investment for a neighborhood future down the road, so they can flourish and live out their dreams.
What
I'm excited about is that this headline of Tennessee American Water is at least maybe involve more people in the debate, maybe involve more information.
Well, I think
we'll make a better decision as a county because of it.
We'll have them on at some point. I think that the newspaper article actually yesterday was maybe shocked them that it actually popped up. They were not prepared for the public conversation at this point, and they will be. They've always been easy to deal with. Yeah.
Certainly at the local level, they probably weren't. And let's say it doesn't necessarily have to be Tennessee American Water. I mean, there's more than one company out there that'll do a partnership with a county and a municipality to manage the waste. I mean, there may be several people that, now that the news is broke, that Tennessee American admitted that they've been in discussion, that maybe there's other people that will be interested. You may have 3 or 4 companies to choose from, and maybe none of them are what we need, but at least we can gain more information. We can gain some insight from people that have done this several times over.
Yeah, what's the slogan? What's the slogan?
Is the budget. The budget, there's not a budget there.
Your number 2 business is our number 1 business. I mean, there's money. There's money to be made in this business. I mean, there's no doubt. And if the county wants to make it, they just
from a revenue stream, there might be in the front end, but just think of the investment. You invest $45 million into a plant. 20 years from now, how much you got to put back into that plant? And that's the catch part here. If you're not putting away money every year, just like if you're a homeowner and you got to save money to replace your roof one day, then boom, you got to raise debt to be able to fix it.
And most people don't put that on about it.
You put that on a private business, that's how they do their budget. Well, we don't necessarily, as a government, say, "Oh, we're going to, fix our infrastructure, so we're going to put away a rainy day fund to fix our schools and our sewers and everything at the same time."
Let me ask you this. All right, it's obviously a necessity. What would you do if you had the veto power or the deciding power? You were the decider, and what would you do in 30 seconds? What do you think would be the situation that we're dealing with right now, which is an area where there's going to be a population boom and people are going to move out there? What would you do if you had the switch?
Initially, right off the bat, the first thing that popped in my mind is let's keep everything at Moccasin Bend. In a perfect world, we get the county and the city to work together on that. Whether it's a third party that takes it over and manages it, that way you keep the politics of the city and the county out of it. We already have a site that can be used. Why would you want to put another piece of effluent in the Tennessee River at a different point so eventually you can bring those 2 points and ruin our fishing and our quality of life on the rivers together? I would love to have it just at Moccasin Bend and have the infrastructure work so Collegedale and Hamilton County and everyone else goes to Moccasin Bend where it's already there and people know how to deal with it.
Brent, I tell you, we got to go to a break, but I'm very glad you called. Thank you. And again, that is the way you begin these conversations, these public conversations, is calling this radio station at 800-8949 and saying your piece about whatever it is you got on your mind. And then you get other people with other opinions, hopefully, and they will respond. And it goes from there. And I will flash back to that. It was really kind of a hostile takeover that the city of Chattanooga was trying to do at that time. And I think they were stunned and shocked at the public, backlash. And it got to the point where it just got silly. For those who don't remember, it actually got down to the point where they were saying, well, it's a Yankee corporation. It's a Yankee corporation that's coming in here. And I don't care how many Confederate battle flags you might have flying on your property. That didn't make any sense.
Well, I'm a customer of the WWTA here in East Ridge.
Sure.
I felt the billing was handled better when Tennessee American did it.
Yeah.
I felt everything was done better when Tennessee American handled all that aspect of. If you ever called the WWTA, I literally want to jump off 2 or 3 buildings.
And see, that's just it. The water company is one of the few utilities that I never had any problem with at all. Cable companies are argued with. Phone companies are argued with. Fred the show. Give us a ring if you want to. 800-8949, NugaRadio.com.
I'm the dude. That or his dudeness, Duder, or El Duderino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Nuga Radio 92.7. 3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
2 bodies recovered from the Saudi Daisy plane crash, the wrecked plane at the bottom of the Chickamauga Lake. The pilot, earlier identified by his family as retired Marine Captain Frank Davey, along with a passenger ID'd as 55-year-old Hamilton County school teacher Linda Marinello. Due to the government shutdown, the NTSB and FAA are not able to investigate the cause of the crash at this time. A Dade County woman who ran over a deputy, mangling his leg so badly it had to be amputated, sentenced to 40 years in prison yesterday. 35-year-old Laura Wooten was convicted on a list of charges that include aggravated battery and aggravated assault. Officers say she slammed into Deputy Tom Bradford during a chase. And over 1,000 Tennessee customers affected by the Neiman Marcus data breach in 2013. Compromised credit cards were used fraudulently after identity thieves got the compromised info online. Val St. John for Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Space, a final frontier.
Whether it's a man cave, she shedder office, L&K Buildings and Trailer Sales has your space. The perfect portable building just for you. L&K Buildings and Trailer Sales is a premier building authorized dealer. You tired of paying high storage fees, lack of security, and not having easy access to your stuff? Then L&K has the building just for you. Or if you're looking for a mini home or the perfect hunting cabin, L&K has the building that will convert perfectly. Free delivery up to 50 miles. No credit checks and low monthly payments. Call L&K today at 706-858-0077. 706-858-0077. On Facebook, search L&K Buildings and Trailer Sales. 3532 Lakeview Drive, Rossville, Georgia. L&K's featured storage unit this month is a center cabin 12x32, featuring 15% off. L&K Buildings and Trailer Sales. Call 706-858-0077.
As a small business owner, you know that running a business is no easy task. You're in the office and on your third cup of coffee before most even roll out of bed. That's why you need office equipment and solutions that help keep your business running smoothly. The experts at RJ Young provide office technology that ensures your business's network stays efficient and secure, so you can focus on what truly matters, growing your business. To discover how RJ Young can help your small business grow, visit rjyoung.com/smallbusiness.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga Roofing Contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust.
The first responders. These are the men and women who put themselves in harm's way for us. On Nuga Radio every Friday is First Responder Friday. We salute Battalion Chief Carlos Hampton of the Chattanooga Fire Department for going above and beyond in the line of duty. If you see Battalion Chief Carlos Hampton, tell him thank you. If there's a first responder you'd like us to honor, go to NugaRadio.com and submit your nomination. First Responder Friday, sponsored by Delegates Towing and Recovery, the Mad Philly Sandwich Shop, New York Pizza Department, and Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
What country you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what? What? English, do you speak it? Yes. Then you know what I'm saying. Yes. What? Say what again?
Nuga Radio.
Time takes a cigarette, puts it in your mouth. You pull on your finger, then another finger, then cigarette.
What a great album.
The water wall is calling. It lingers, then you forget. Oh, 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 you're a rock and roll suicide.
Brilliant man. 3 years ago today, we learned of his passing. People's Home Equity, thank you very much for sponsoring for the show. Looking for a home? Well, you need to ask questions like, are we on a sewer line or do I have a septic tank and things of this nature? And you need to get a mortgage. And actually, People's Home Equity, they do mortgages, but they could probably answer any and all questions you have about the property. That's part of doing mortgages. And it's always better to let somebody who really understands what they're doing do it than you doing an amateur job doing it. I said, that's why God made checkbooks. You know, it really is. And people, some equity, it's chatmortgage.com. Don't turn that down yet. Chatmortgage.com, NMLS 66247. Crank this up just a little bit. This is such good stuff.
They're so natural, religiously unkind. Oh no, love, you're not alone. You're watching yourself, but you're too unfair.
Thank you very much for tuning in for the show. 800-8949. I believe we have somebody on the line right now, or at least we have somebody calling in, and we'll get them on in just 2 seconds. NugaRadio.com. NugaRadio.com. Go to the website. We're on Facebook Live as well. Remember, if you're on Facebook Live, you're listening to the radio. And Diane, I believe, is this Diane?
Hi, this is Alan.
Alan on Diane's phone.
Already always tells us mistruths.
I hope Diane says it's okay. So what's up, Alan?
I had just a few comments on the sewer plan.
Sure, please.
WWTA's lack of planning does not create a crisis on the part of a select neighborhood of residents, i.e. voters.
Yes.
A 7-year project needs 7 years advanced planning. WWTA is grossly negligent in their planning. We need some new thinking and some new management at the WTA. They've proven they can't handle the scale of a program. Just ask the EPA and TDEC. And if builders and realtors want someone to blame on this, don't blame the residents. Look to the county.
I think those are wise words. And I know you stole that first line off of somebody's desk. Lack of planning on your part doesn't constitute a crisis on my part, but it does fit. I'm just trying to think of the last time that we actually talked about Moccasin Bend and sewage treatment. And you know what it was? It was the effluent, the discharge, and the fact that it was so visible. It was so visible. People that were flying over the Tennessee River over Moccasin Bend could see where it literally bubbled up. And we were beginning to turn our front porch back to the river. And suddenly you had this huge, dark stream. And really, it wasn't what you thought it was, but it appeared to be. So appearances, count for a lot in this business. And you remember when the writer from Automotive Magazine, whatever it was, came down to talk about the new Volkswagen that was being built. And what did he focus on? The fact that the city smelled bad in the summertime. And so these are things that have to be dealt with. It's going to require somebody's hit dog has got to holler. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And if you're right, I'm going to ask you the same thing that I asked the last caller. I mean, what would you do if you were in a position of power and you could flip the switch and say, all right, this is what we want to do. What kind of situation would you construct to make everybody happy as best you could?
Yeah, I think the previous caller was spot on. I mean, look at all the options. It's not a sewage plant we need. It's sewage service that's needed. That doesn't equate to a plant. Moccasin Bend is one option. There are other areas in nearby communities, nearby counties that we could work together with and solve this problem. People don't have a choice on where they live next to the proposed sewage plant. Build it somewhere else where people themselves can choose whether they want to live close to this plant or not live close to this plant. I visited the Murfreesboro plant, and in 1971, when it was built, there were no buildings, no homes around that. People chose to live close to it. It wasn't forced upon them. Look at other options.
Do you think there's a geographical, solution? Is it literally the lay of the land? Is it such that they could go through an unpopulated area and get it all the way to Moccasin Bend from where we're talking about, realistically, scientifically?
I'm not an engineer, but I believe that is true. I think they can.
It all flows downhill. I know that. Man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I appreciate the call. And we'll be joined in the next segment by Mickey McCamish. I've said any of you folks out there who have people power, I would say young people, but how many schools require hours and hours of volunteer work these days? It started CSAS, and I think most of them do. They have a certain number of hours you have to put in every year of volunteer work. So this is a very good opportunity to get your kid or yourself or your family some volunteer hours. And we'll be talking to Mickey about this in just a little bit, and it'll be operative tomorrow, the topic. Good morning to you, caller.
Yes, this is David Sharp. Is this Jeff?
Yes, it is, David. Good to hear from you.
Hey, yeah, good to hear from you. I was sitting here enjoying your show and listening to some folks talk. And I'm not. Let me say something first. I'm not sold on any one particular direction of doing any of this with regard to wastewater treatment here in Hamilton County, but. One thing that's not talked about is that I haven't heard talked about on your show this morning with a couple of the callers is that, regardless of whether a plant is built at this particular site on Mahan Gap Road or not, that whole area, topographically is essentially shaped like a big bathtub that all drains to this particular spot that has been discussed for the wastewater treatment plant.
It's a basin.
And it's a basin. Absolutely. And in what 1972 or whatever, a study was done for the potential of wastewater management in that area. And they came to the exact same conclusion. So whether a plant's built there or not, unless you want to spend another $15 million per pump station for delivering sewage from one place to another.
To make it go uphill instead of downhill.
That's right. It's not going to flow uphill. There needs to be, for cost-saving measures, at least a storage tank and pump facility in this general vicinity.
Is there space? Is there space? And David, I'll ask you. And by the way, this is somebody who understands the need for quality water. He's a brewmaster, and so you have to have good water to make good brew, right? And and Chattanooga always ranks very high in the quality of water. I mean, my God, go to Florida and take a shower and get you a big old glass of that stuff down there. It's drinkable, it's potable, but it doesn't smell good. Go to New Orleans and talk to them about the salt water that's in there.
I do not drink the water when I go to New Orleans.
And I mean, these are important topics that need to be discussed. I mean, and I guess what I'm hearing from everybody is that there needs to be a plan and a public debate, and they didn't feel like that was taking place. And I'm just wondering, is there a spot out there in that neck of the woods that would be acceptable, that would be remote enough? I don't know. I don't have a map in front of me. I don't know how many people live in this area, that area, this street, that street. And I'm just asking you, do you know, is there an acceptable spot?
Yeah, I do know. Let me say this. I know of multiple spots out there as presented by the WWTA in their but presentation. And I think there were maybe 10. I'm sorry, I'm hearing like an echo.
I know. I apologize. We have a new system here, and we're dialing it in. You're helping us actually get this done. And you a little reverb there, but it sounds louder in your ear than it does on the air.
Sure. Okay, good. So also, I will say this. You mentioned that I'm a brewer, and I was a brewer. I'm not a brewer anymore. Just for clarification, I am one of the 9 county commissioners that is addressing this particular issue.
Yes. And I wasn't going to just completely out you for any reason. I'll let everybody do that themselves if they want to say that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And I'm fine doing that. And out of all of the, I think, 10 locations that they outlined, they, from my understanding, did the bulk of their research on this particular spot because it was number 1 on their list of criteria, that all the criteria better than any of the other locations. And a lot of the residents out there will say, well, their criteria did not take in consideration where our houses were. And I understand that. And it did not. It did not. And what I'm looking for is an acceptable location that fits the criteria, doesn't cost any more money, and is not in anybody else's backyard. that's the way I look at it.
And you have to think there exists a spot or two that would meet those criteria. And yeah, exactly as the last caller said, at that point, if you go out and purchase property, I don't want to hear you bitching. I mean, and that's, all realtors need to understand. This is one of the things you have to do is disclose any potential problems to somebody who's going to buy property. And, some folks, they're not going to care unless it's in literally their backyard. They're not going to care. It doesn't make any difference to them. I mean, you got the money, you want the property.
I don't know if realtors disclosed the 1971 study that suggested a wastewater treatment plant being placed there or not. They probably should have, but or I guess that information was at least there to be discovered. I'm learning things. I learned a couple of things in the paper today that I don't think I fully understood. I've got I feel like bits and pieces of the story.
Sure.
And I intend to run a lot more of this down. I felt like I had a really good grip on all the different parts of it.
Welcome to public office.
Regardless of whether there's a merger or a private entity that comes in, there's still a tremendous amount of development in our future in that particular end of the county. We've got to manage the wastewater some way or another. And from what the information that I have seen, this particular location needs to have some form of infrastructure to help manage that wastewater because of its geographical location and the expense involved with managing it.
David,
I agree completely that we've got to look at, all these different things that were coming up over the course of time. From an economic standpoint, because there's only so many dollars in everybody's pocket, and every time we spend more, it's coming out of somebody's pocket. That's something we always have to be mindful of.
Yeah, speaking of water, you can't just turn on the spigot and get more money. Now, David, I am so glad to hear your voice and to have you calling. We got to go to a break real quick. But I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This is the debate we need to be having, and better you than me. This falls into that category as an elected representative right now is something that's sticky. But thank you for calling very much. And please continue to do so. Spread the show.
I'm the dude, that or his dudeness, duder, or El Duderino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Nuga Radio 92.7. 3, 2, 1.
Chatter, Nuga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
A mother and daughter were brutally murdered in Whitfield County. The alleged killer called 911 to confess, saying that he lost his mind and murdered the two. Deputies found the bodies of 72-year-old Judy Potts and her daughter Crystal Spainhour bludgeoned and stabbed to death. A Dade County woman who ran over a deputy, mangling his leg so badly it had to be amputated, was sentenced to 40 years in prison yesterday. 35-year-old Laura Wooten convicted on a list of charges simply too long to read, but it includes aggravated battery and aggravated assault. Defenders pulled a Hail Mary when they claimed the DA's office may have the appearance of impropriety in the Athens Park Bloods RICO case because one of the prosecutors used to work as a defense attorney for one of the defendants. Judge Tom Greenholtz, however, slapped that idea down. The Athens Park Blood RICO case continues. 3 of the defendants face the death penalty. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
92.7 Nuga Radio.
Oh, can happen to anyone. Flat tire, overheated engine, or just a clackety-clacking. Now you're on the side of the road. No worries, because Doug Yates Towing and Recovery is there 24 hours a day for you. That's right, 24-hour-a-day emergency roadside assistance. And you don't have to accept who your insurance company or your road assistance provider sends you. At Doug Yates Towing and Recovery, we want you off the road as safely and soon as possible. So they'll be there in a jiffy. Doug Yates Towing and Recovery with 24-hour emergency roadside service. Call 800-407-2371. That's 800-407-2371. Online, yatesrecord.com. That's yatesrecord.com. On Facebook at Doug Yates Towing and Recovery, LLC. Doug Yates Towing and Recovery. We don't want your arms and legs, just your toes. Doug Yates Towing and Recovery is a Nuga Radio 92.7 First Responder Friday sponsor. To our first responders, Doug Yates Towing and Recovery says thank you.
The water we drink should be the most perfect on the planet. At Purity Water, we set the bar extremely high. As a leader in bottleless water treatment systems, we create the healthiest, cleanest water there is, liquid purity. The Purity water cooler dispensers and coffee makers can transform your workplace with a continuous supply of clean, fresh, great-tasting water. And now, to make your day that much brighter, we're serving Stone Cup and Fleetwood Premium locally roasted coffee. Some would call that the nectar of the gods, but here at Purity Water, it's just business as usual. To put a smile on the faces of your employees and visitors, and for your free trial, give us a call at 423-894-0737 or find us online at puritydrinkingwater.com. That's puritydrinkingwater.com.
Good morning, Vietnam! Hey, this is not a test. This is rock and roll. Time to rock it from the Delta to the DMZ. Is that me or does that sound like an Elvis Presley movie? Nougat Radio!
Pushing through the market square. So many mothers sighing.
For the show, Nougat Radio.
News had
Brought to you
just
by
come
People's
over.
Home Equity and Warren and Griffin.
We had 5 years.
You have any particular legal situation that you are unsatisfied with the way it's moving, probably need to get a pro on your side there as well. That's another category. You don't try to go and argue in a court for yourself and your side of an issue. You have a fool for a client if you do that. And you got to hire a pro, and Warren Griffin would certainly fit that description. So give them a ring or go to their website and tell them I sent you, so they'll love me even more. It's 265-HURT here in Chattanooga. Then in Dalton, I did neglect earlier to give the area code 706-529-HURT. WarrenandGriffin.com. Guest in the studio, so we're going to stop poop talk for just a second. Unless, just what I generally do could be considered that. Talking, you know what. Mickey McCamish is in here with us, and Mickey, I'm going to get you to sidle up to the mic over there and just say good morning to everybody and what's on your mind today.
Good morning, Jeff, and thanks so much for having me. And, Jeff, we, December the 15th, we had Reach Across Chattanooga, where the Reach Across America program all across
which I've watched grow over the years. From just this small little idea into being a truly major operation now.
Absolutely. You're right on. And the same thing occurred here this year. This year we raised 3 times more wreaths than had ever been raised in the history of Chattanooga.
These are wreaths that go on the graves of veterans who have passed at the National Cemetery, and they're placed out there.
We raised almost 10,000 wreaths, over $100,000 we raised. We started at the end of August, and we also set a record with the number of people that showed up to place the wreaths.
Placing them is the, I guess it would be the easier end of this equation. That's where the pomp and circumstance and the love for your country and the good feelings are. Picking them up is a little bit different.
That's right. But it was the second largest turnout at Chattanooga National next to the funeral for the fallen 5.
Wow.
So it was, now that we've placed those almost 10,000 wreaths, it's now time to retire those wreaths, to go and pick them up.
And now that they have actually, this is not just like a wreath you have at your house, some evergreen wreath that you put up for Christmas and take it down and throw it out in the backyard or burn it or throw it away. These things have, I will not say the equivalent of an American flag's value and needs to be retired in the correct way, but it's close.
It is. It's very respectful. You're exactly right. And we'll be doing that on Saturday, January the 26th, and we're going to start at 8:30 in the morning. So any groups, any volunteers, they can simply call the Riverbend office at 423-756-2212. Gina Ortez is coordinating. And we'll be glad to take their names. Parking will be there at the cemetery, so they can park right there at the cemetery. And then we'll pick up the wreaths. We'll have all the equipment that's necessary. The only thing they will need to bring is gloves. Need to bring some gloves.
Yeah, I mean, it is evergreen.
It is.
It'll prick
It
your
is.
little fingers. Now, for those
It
who
is.
wonder why he would be giving the Riverbend number, is because that's where he works, and that is my second gig. So Mickey and I have worked side by side for several years now. And for those who don't understand, Friends of the Festival is an organization that's actually set up to do more than just Riverbend. It's actually set up to help people do the infrastructure of any kind of community event that they want to do. That's why they were formed. And so it really does make sense. If it doesn't seem like it does make sense. Riverbend's the Friends of the Festival are involved in a lot more than just the big party.
You're exactly right, Jeff. There's a tremendous amount of outreach that occurs at Friends of the Festival, and the military element, the veterans element, is a strong part. As you know, we've expanded the military element into Riverbend because we have Military Appreciation Night.
Sure.
One night at Riverbend.
Riverfront Night's one of the most magical nights I've ever seen. And that's the series, the free Saturday night concert series we have a little later in the summer. If you've never been to any of those shows, you need to come down. It's such a great vibe. But we had the LST that was down there, and it had gone from D-Day to Vietnam. And the crew of that ship were so amazed at the reaction of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and the surrounding area, and how many people just wanted to come down and touch it and walk through it. It didn't surprise me, but it surprised them. And I know they set all records, but we're doing that again this year.
That's right. That's exactly right. This is the 75th anniversary of D-Day, and you're exactly right on, Jeff. And LST 325, they picked two cities. Well, we started this effort 2 years ago because with this being the 75th, we did have the LST 325 here on the 70th anniversary of D-Day. Now we're having her here on the 75th anniversary. We're one of two cities in the United States that ship will visit. We do still hold the record at 22,085 visitors to come aboard.
I mean, when we say that Chattanooga is a patriotic city, and we say it's a philanthropic city, that is not, lip service. I mean, the fact is, per capita, I think we give more than any city in the country on a regular basis. And the whole, I don't even know how many towns even have a, military parade anymore, or a Veterans Day parade, or whatever. And we have all those things. And I'll tell you, personally, I got in my kayak and actually just paddled around the LST and just reached out and just touched those dings and realized that that was at Omaha Beach. That was in Normandy, and it was a very powerful thing. And to see it illuminated with the rock and roll lights that night it was cool.
And Jeff, I'm a Navy veteran, and I served in Vietnam, and I worked with the LSTs in Vietnam and on the island of Guam, as a matter of fact. And you can imagine when those bow doors opened there on Normandy, those young men that hit the beach, 18, 19-year-olds, never to return.
We saw the beginning of Saving Private Ryan. We know exactly what happened more often than not. And that first wave, God bless them all, and the second wave, and the third wave, and every wave that came in. And thank you for your service, by the way.
Thank you.
But I don't mean to get off course. If people were just kind of confused by that, the number down there, you can give it again, and any other information you want to. But I apologize. I was thinking that it was actually tomorrow, this Saturday, but it's the 26th.
26th of January, 8:30 in the morning, we will start. And the phone number, 423-756-2212.
And
parking at the cemetery.
All the information you need. And again, I'll throw it out there. I know when CSAS first cranked up, and one of the things, you remember when people were lined up around the block and camping out to get their kids in that magnet school. And one of the things that really stood out to me, and I ended up with two kids that did go there, was the requirement that the students and their families do volunteering, and they had to do a mandatory number of hours every year. This would be a really good way to get you some of those hours.
It is. And Jeff, at the same time, while we're retiring, we're going to start the effort for 2019 to place a wreath on each gravestone in December, so that eventually we will cover all 46,000 gravestones at Chattanooga National.
I was going to ask, how many are we talking about there? 46,000.
46,000 is what the the Chattanooga National people tell me.
The gates of the National Cemetery are normally open to the public, and I will tell you something that most of you folks have probably never experienced before. You can just go out there on a day like today and wander the grounds. It is a beautiful, peaceful, serene place that is, I think it's just one of the most powerful spots anywhere in the tri-state. And it's actually got rock bluffs. It has little waterfalls, and most people don't see that. And, most people don't ever access it. It's a remarkable, in a strange way, commodity.
Jeff, you're right. And there's so many stories. I know there's a veteran that's 92 years of age. His wife, his spouse is buried there. He still goes every day out to Chattanooga National, 92 years of age, and visits her gravesite every day. It's a beautiful place. We're very fortunate to have a national cemetery like that here in our community.
So 46,000 is the goal. How many did we have this year?
We had 10,000 this year.
All right, so that's the kind of exponential growth we need to see to make it happen. But you've got to pick up after yourself, too, and it's got to be done respectfully. I actually mentioned last week when I first talked to you about coming in, if anybody ever wants to know how to properly dispose of an American flag, I can tell you how to do that, because I learned it when our scout troop basically did a flag drive and took retired flags in. The wreaths, is there any kind of protocol that has to be followed?
There isn't any type of protocol. We're just very, very careful as we pick the wreaths up around the grave sites, and to be respectful of the graves. That's the most important thing at this point.
Well, Mickey, thank you so much. And so just contact, just do it because you want to, do it because you're a good American, do it because you're just a patriotic citizen, do it because you just want to give back, and do it to get off the couch and go to a cool place and meet some cool people.
Jeff, thank you. Jason, thank you all so much for having me this morning.
I appreciate you very much and everything that you do. And I'll just tell everybody that's Mickey's a fine man. And I just think this is a wonderful program. I remember when it first started, at least as far as my awareness of it, it was the Civilian Air Patrol. And I think they might have had a couple of hundred wreaths. And I don't know how they chose the headstones or anything of that nature. And I don't really know exactly how the inner workings go. But it has just been a beautiful thing to watch it just blow up, explode in a good way. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. All right. You guys, thank you for listening. Read the show today and all week. And by the way, Jason just pulled up a beautiful picture of the cemetery. When was that taken?
Oh, gosh, a long.
It dusted with snow. And there's one person standing and just gazing at one grave. And that's just it's an amazingly beautiful place. I don't know how to describe it. You just have to go yourself, and I think you will find waves of serenity and relaxation come over you. It's a de-stressor. It really truly is. And
I can't take credit for that photo, by the way. My wife shot that.
Did she?
Yep.
Is that how you got that?
That's how I got that.
Well, good for you for giving credit. Everybody knows. I mean, you belong to the club. Men who don't serve their wives.
That's right.
The men who outkick their coverage. I'm the president of that club, as you saw earlier this week. And thank you to Warren Griffin, and thank you to People's Home Equity, and thank you to my friend Robin Ring at RC2 Realty Solutions, and info@rc2realtysolutions.com, and Tim Kelly and crew out at Kelly Subaru, kellysubaru.com. And speaking of Riverbend, actually, I'm going to be going to a meeting here in just a little bit. And I hope that we have a major announcement between now and this time next week, next Friday, where we can tell you guys about the changes. Everybody knows there's going to be some changes at the festival this year. I think they're going to be positive. I think you're going to see the quality of entertainment increase, and I would love to be able to be the one that breaks that news. Thank you very much for tuning in. Nooga Radio, NoogaRadio.com. Yeah. I'm a little bit furrier than normal, fuzzier than normal. There's actually a reason for that. There's a method to the madness. I'm not just letting myself completely go. Well, yes, I am. But there's a reason for it. For those of you watching on camera, if you wondered.
I'm the dude. You know, that or his dudeness, duder, or El Duderino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Are you looking to buy a home? You go online and search, or you ride through the areas you want to move to, looking for time stands still when you see it. You know, that home. But you spend all that time. You build up all that excitement to find out that you only qualify for... Maybe you have a few things on your credit that keeps you from things that you could take care of. You know what you should do? Call the mortgage professionals at People's Home Equity. They specialize in... They help home buyers go from... to... People's Home Equity is a great place to start the home buying process. 591-9801. You need more than less. People's Home Equity. 591-9801. Call for more details. Terms and conditions may apply. This is not a commitment to lend. NMLS number 66247. Tennessee number 117278136. Georgia number 16020. Georgia Residential Mortgage Licensee. Equal Housing.